Let's just say for one split second that biblical cosmology is actually correct. And instead of actually living here, we actually live here. Which I hope we can all agree somewhat resembles what all these biblical cosmologies resemble. A frickin' snow globe. Now if by massive coinkydink we did live in a snow globe, and we do have a protective dome over us, then obviously flights in the south would have to be at a lower altitude than flights in the centre of the earth, north. So let's ask Google. Hey Google, how high do planes fly in the north? Commercial planes flying north typically fly at odd altitudes to 37,000 feet to maintain separation from planes flying in other directions. That's quite high. Hey Google, how high do planes fly in the south? Planes are flown in Antarctica at altitudes of 13,000 feet above ground level. The explanation, flying in Antarctica is difficult due to low visibility and rough weather. Like we don't have the technology to get past weather. So if planes fly in the north at 37,000 feet and planes fly in the south at 13,000 feet, that's a massive altitude drop, wouldn't you say? To me, that proves a little bit of biblical cosmology.
This is a quick one on how directions work on the flat earth map, northeast, southwest. North, magnetic north is right here in the center. North on the compass always points to this spot. South is anywhere on this outer perimeter of the ice ring. And east and west. West would be going clockwise, east would be going counterclockwise around the map. So magnetic north always points towards the middle, south is always the ice ring in all directions. It's pretty interesting.
I'm not sure if you're aware, but 66.6 degrees south is the Antarctic coastline. So if they're going to do a final experiment that proves Gleason wrong, where he said here, there's no sunlight beyond 80 degrees south. Well, how about you go beyond 80 degrees south? They didn't do that, did they? No, they went to 78.8. Well, what the does that prove?
If the sun circled the earth, it'd be light at the same time everywhere. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because this is with a flashlight and a tiny little map. And you can see how it's light on this side and dark on the other. Interesting how that works. Now, another thing you can do is you could put something in the middle of this. And what you could also do is you can tell by the shadow that the sun has to move in a circle. So if you looked at a sundial, you'll see how the shadow moves. Now you see the shadow on a sundial? You see how it goes around? Ready? See how that shadow goes around? That's how sundial shadows work. And the only way to get the shadow to do that is to go around in a circle. Not like this, east to west. Not like this. Because you see what happens with that shadow? It gets all deformed. That's just not what happens with a sundial. And you could just buy a sundial and videotape it. And you're going to see that the shadow moves around. And in order to replicate that, you need to have the sun circling the earth like this. And yes, like I said, if the sun circles the earth, it would be light on one side and dark everywhere else. Because that's how light works. So for all these people out there, oh, it would be bright everywhere in the whole world if the earth were flat. No, it wouldn't. You just don't understand how light works. That's all. So I highly recommend people learn.
Guys, you have to hear what she's saying. This is life. Go ahead.
Law enforcement in the military, so they have clear guidelines on how to assess these issues going forward. I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Ms. Bogert for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now that we have all been cautioned in this committee hearing that the mention of Pentagon's Immaculate Constellation program could put us on a list, well, I already find myself on many lists, I'm sure. So I speak my mind often, so why not just keep going with it? May as well just go all out and say it. The earth is flat, birds are government drones, and we've never set foot on the moon, and Joe Biden received 81 million votes in the 2020 election. So let's just see how many lists we could get on here today.
Ooh, what?
Mr. Schellenberger, I wanted to.
Have you ever looked into asteroids and the craters that they leave? Because I know I hadn't. But let's just think for a second, honestly. Let's just think. Because every single one of these are like a perfect circle. They haven't rolled. They haven't had any movement once they hit the ground. They have just been fucking flopped straight down to our Earth. Undoubtedly, if we had an asteroid flying straight at our Earth, because we're a ball and that's a ball, it is near enough impossible for it not to have a roll effect onto Earth. Once these things have hit Earth, they should not be a perfect circle every time. And did you know, as of 2024, we have found almost 200 of these creators. And like it says in the Book of Enoch, it tells the story of 200 watchers or angels that were sent over to watch humanity. These watchers conspired to commit sins by taking human women as wives and having children with them. They also taught humans many skills relating to different disciplines of science that we still practice to this day. So if these 200 found craters weren't actually asteroids, and check this one out, this one's called the Gates of Hell, and it's never not been on fire. Well, obviously they'd put it in our faces like everything else, like truth in plain sight, right? Yep. They do this right in our faces, I can tell you what, in so many ways. But let's talk about Avengers. These motherfucking heroes have been smashing the ground ever since day one. And obviously they wouldn't leave out the main one of all. The light bearer himself, El Lucifer. El Lucifer, that you can't deny, is worshipped all over this world. Especially if you've watched any more of my content. But hey, obviously this is just a lie. I'm just talking out my backside. Obviously these craters are just asteroids, and we've got exactly 200. And in the Book of Enoch it talks of 200 fallen angels. And we also have a pyramid in the middle of nowhere that no one knows about, called Astana, which is an anagram for Satan. And at the top of this pyramid there's 200 perfectly aligned seats that are for worldwide religious meetings.
The math isn't mathing, NASA. Let's run through some basic math and prove NASA wrong. First off, though, I just want to point out, go watch any video of the ISS or anything like that. You cannot see the Earth move at all. The official narrative is that the Earth spins at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. The Earth's circumference at the equator is approximately 24,901 miles. We get 24 hours in a day by dividing the circumference by the rotation speed. So 24,901 divided by 1,000 somehow gives us 24 hours. No, this gives us almost 25 hours. Following the official narrative's math, we would have an extra 328 hours per year. Okay, let's check Earth's orbit. The exact speed that we go around the Earth is such a convenient number, 66,615 miles per hour. The distance we orbit is 584 million miles. Divided by 66,615, you get 8,766.79427, which equals 365.283094. So we have 365 days in a year plus this number. They try to explain away the excess with leap years, but times that number by 4 and you don't even get 1 day. You still have excess. You don't have to be a math whiz to realize that they're lying. All of this is made up. It's man-made. There's no observed movement of the Earth. We've proven this over and over. It's all a lie. NASA lies.
Want to know what I think about the heavens? Part 2. The heavens contain the fullness of God's creation, holding all of the physical world as well as some spiritual being. I used to think that the stars were literally trapped inside the layer of the firmament, because the Bible said that Yahweh set them within it. But having an understanding of the Hebrew word firmament and how it's connected not only to the word copper, but also the word bowl, like literal bowl, we get an understanding that the area inside that bowl is within it as well. This is probably why the air up there is so thin. It's a different realm. It's the physical place that is closest to the spiritual realm. And it's probably the realm where the Olympian gods, or fallen angels, came from as well.
You won't believe why all compasses point to the north. Forget Everest. The tallest mountain on Earth is Rupes Nigris, a black rock composed of magnetic rocks, a secret that the world must not know. Science and the media deliberately hide it. Why? Because if the world knew that such an enormous mountain exists at the center of the Earth, it would change the course of history and destroy the theory of the Earth being a globe. This mountain is located at the center of the North Pole. It is so tall that its peaks reach the clouds. Observe how the wind is blocked by its immense size. It is said to measure over 100 kilometers in height and 64 kilometers in diameter. This could explain why all compasses point to this location. And the strangest thing is that the most powerful company in the world, BlackRock, bears the name of this mountain. Is it a mere coincidence? Or has this name been deliberately chosen by the global elites who have planned everything? We all know that Antarctica is the most mysterious and intriguing continent that exists. Antarctica is not a vast expanse of ice at the bottom of the Earth, but rather a gigantic wall of ice surrounding all the continents of this world. In 1992, a new standard world map called the Gleason map was published, depicting Antarctica encircling all our continents. A very intriguing fact is that the logo of the United Nations strongly resembles this map.
All the translations from Zecharia Sitchin are false. Do I believe the Anunnaki story? Well, I know the Anunnaki story that is being portrayed out there by people like Zecharia Sitchin and Billy Carson is complete nonsense. And how do I know that? Because I know the original story, the actual story from the Sumerian tablets. The Anunnakis were not aliens. They did not come down from heaven to earth in fiery rockets, and there was none of that. They were settlers that came in over the Taurus Mountains from Eurasia, from Europe. There have been archaeological finds like the Tartarian tablets, Proto-Sumerian, that predates the Sumerian in Sumer, in Mesopotamia, and it comes from the area around Hungary, Romania, and Eastern Europe in that region. They came down after a cataclysm, after something happened that wiped out civilization. That is actually in the story. They came down over the Taurus Mountains, came down into Mesopotamia and started large-scale irrigation projects and farming projects, and the locals came to know them as the Anunnaki. All the translations from Zecharia Sitchin are false. That is, they have been disproven by an actual Sumerian scholar that actually spoke Sumerian, Michael Heiser, Dr. Michael Heiser. He's now deceased. Zecharia Sitchin was not. He came from the London School of Economics. He was not a scholar of any way, shape, or form, especially not linguistically. He didn't even speak the language, and he made a lot of shit up. And I believe that he was a front man for something that was written for him that he popularized because he was playing some kind of role popularizing these things. People seized upon that story, they regurgitate it, they spit it out, and they pretend like they know what's going on, even though they've never read the original Sumerian. They have no idea how to translate the original Sumerian, and they have no idea what the real story was. They're just out there for clout.
Now, you'll often read the Anunnaki means something like they who from heaven came, or again, some other sort of description that makes them sound like aliens or extraterrestrials. There isn't a source on the planet by any Sumerian scholar that would agree with that definition. It's not a difficult term. You will find that the term means of royal seed or princely seed. Online, you could go to the Pennsylvania Sumerian Dictionary. It's the University of Pennsylvania's project, creating a Sumerian dictionary that you can access online. I have a picture actually of the page on my website, and you can see what Sumerian scholars, real Sumerian scholars, understand about the term. I personally don't think that Sitchin knew Sumerian at all. If you're not going to get that right, then I have to wonder what else you're going to get wrong. Contrary to what Sitchin says, the word Anunnaki does not mean they who from heaven came. Rather, the word means the gods on high, or princely offspring or seed. This is the most current Sumerian dictionary. This is the entry for Anunnaki. Now, Anunnaki, if you can make this out, generally means princely seed. Okay, and it's used of people, royal seed. So it just means, the offspring of someone who's a king or kingly or royal. But it doesn't mean they who from heaven came, i.e. in spaceships.
Nick, can you believe that? Oh my God! Oh my God!
That's the weirdest sunset ever.
I've never seen it do that. It's like
it looks like a Lego pieces.
It's just sitting in the water.
It's a layer of fog.
Are you kidding me?
It looks like a pyramid. The Earth is flat.
It looks fake.
Closer to it, isn't it?
Whoa!
weather's really dry, the glare goes away, and you can see like the circle of the sun.
Why is it setting on the water?
It looks like it's digital.
Yeah, it looks digital. Okay.
It looks like a Pac-Man or something. Intergalactic.
There it goes.
Wow.
That's so weird.
Intergalactic, planetary.
Oh, Richard's taking a picture.
Intergalactic.
Wait, no, it looks like a boat.
No one lose their
Wait,
car.
green flash, guys. We're gonna see it because it was so pink.
It's not clear enough.
Do you guys? The green flash exists, but it's only because when your eyes don't see that red, that orangey pink, it replaces it with the opposite on the color spectrum, which is green. That's why you see green flash.
I can see it happening right now.
Yeah, you'll see a green flash because it's gonna disappear and then you'll see a green flash.
That's so
You see the green?
weird. I don't see green.
I see it.
Poof.
I don't see the
When you just stare at it for a moment.
You guys, look. The sun is not in outer space. It's right here. Shouldn't the sun be 93 million miles away? And shouldn't we be doing elliptical orbits around this thing at 66,600 miles per hour? Weird. It's almost like we've been lied to about everything. It's almost like we've been conditioned to believe a religion. You know, like a cult. But there's the sun, and there's the horizon in the background.
Here we got the local light, as you can see. So a local fake spotlight that's right near the walker, or the character that's in the film. So in this case, we have this halo figurine. It's not mine, it's my brother's. But so as he moves from right to left, tell me what you see with the shadows. So you see right here, you're going to see with the local light, the shadow starts long. And as he passes by this light, it's going to shrink and get smaller. Then it's going to start to extend and turn the other way. So we're going to move him from right to left. Shadow gets small, shrinks. It starts to extend as he goes away. One more time. Gets small, shrinks as he passes right underneath, so the light is more or less at his zenith. He's closest to the light, and now further away. Okay. Now, let's convert over from this, the local fake spotlight. And remember, there's only one light in Antarctica. It's the sun. Now obviously it's not going to be as far as the sun, but it'll simulate a far away light like the sun. So I'm going to try to hold it as far as I can. Obviously not as far as the sun would be relative to the size, but it'll give us an idea. Not nearly the same fluctuation. Not nearly at all. And by the way, my hand is moving right now, but you can see the shadow more or less remains consistent, and there's no reason for it to change directions and shrink as drastically as if there was a local light. So I want you to look closely at that video of McToon walking by. Be honest to yourself. Are you seeing this? With the shadow? That? Or are you seeing this? Be honest with yourself. Let me know. Peace be upon you.
Never know what's going to happen. This baby fell out of the sky and landed in our yard. It's never boring on the Welke farm. Thank God there's no horses out or it didn't hit the house. And it's still going and flashing.
They tell us right to our face that there are no satellites in space. All so-called satellite communication is based on undersea cables, towers, and computer network.
GH, why are you telling me this? Did your neighbor say something to you?
No, he wasn't home. But he has a satellite phone I thought could help us. I tried to use it, but it didn't work even though it had enough juice. Now the whole point of a satellite phone is that you always have a signal if you have a clear view of the sky, which I did. The only reason why it wouldn't work is if our satellites got knocked out of commission.
Our satellites. You think something happened to our satellites? The ones in space?
The satellites are networked to computers down here.
The satellites are networked to computers down here. The satellites are networked to computers down here.
The Flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Idialenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.